Hello everyone, today I'm looking at A Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. I was never really a big fan of this one right off the bat. I don't like this game. I don't think it's very good. I don't like it. Why is that? Well, the combat is alright. I mean, it's cool you have this slowdown mechanic and you can fight enemies and jump over their back and do all these things. The platforming is sometimes very aggravating because of the camera in certain fixed places. You can't tell if you actually can jump to certain places where otherwise you can or you can't. So there have been times where I've jumped towards a ledge thinking I can totally grab it, and I fall and die. And there's other ledges where I think there's no way I can jump to that, and I actually land on it perfectly fine. I honestly just don't like the story in this game. You have the prince who essentially foolishly opens up the sands of time and has to recollect them, while you have the princess Farah, who is essentially, trying to befriend the prince and work, some sort of chemistry along with him. But I felt they never had any chemistry. I felt they were both very kind of frustrating characters. This is the first game in the series, and I always felt that, everything from the sound design, the effects, the presentation, it all feels very cheesy. It also has this really weird bloom effect. Really just everything feels so, derivative or something. It doesn't feel interesting or fun to platform. It does not feel good to do combat. And the story itself feels like a rehashed, budget, obsolete Disney film that, never got produced. It doesn't feel very good, and everything about it just isn't very fun. I really especially dislike the combat because it just feels very floaty and very soft. Honestly, when you hit a target, you don't feel this big impact. Again, the sound design is also not helping here. A lot of things, I know there are some people who really like this game and this game series. I am not one of them. I really do not like Prince of Persia. I guess on that note, one of the funnier moments I've had in the past few years, I appreciate it, I guess. It's cool that it innovated this whole, rewind mechanic, and that's kind of nifty and, whatever. But it made way for a bunch of other games that were like Prince of Persia or inspired by Prince of Persia, which were pretty good. But again, I've had certain moments where it's just more so frustrating. But yeah, the reveal trailer for the Prince of Persia remake or remaster, whatever, which was done by an Indian team, was quite possibly one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because all their expressions have these derpy faces. I don't know what the team did, but everything just has this weird, almost Fortnite, but retarded looking vision on it. And I actually found it really funny because they try to make it this big epic thing, like some Bollywood production or whatever. And I get it, right? But it's obviously not supposed to be a Bollywood thing. It's supposed to be just a normal game, whatever. But I could not stop laughing. It was just this awful, terrible gameplay, and this remaster of a game I already don't think is very good, and they just give it a brand new coat of crap paint, and it was just very amusing to me. It was just this absolute garbage experience. I was like, oh yes sir, the great Prince of Persia, you will buy, yes. And so yeah, people say, oh well, it's cool how the princess character changes from an arrogant prick to, Farah kind of softens him up and, opens him up and in his character. And it's like, I guess, but I still don't like him as a character. He's just not very interesting. He has no idea what's going on. He's not a really amazing character. Farah is fine, I guess, but a lot of this game, I was playing it, and all I could think of is, why does anyone like this? It really, really confused me, honestly. It's not a very good game. I don't really enjoy it. It gets very repetitive at a certain point. It is kind of good how it mixes up at least the typical game loop of, action to platforming to story and everything in between. But I just feel like this is it's just kind of Disney styled, and honestly I prefer the other ones much more because they feel more like video games, while this one feels just like a very kind of I don't know, weird fantasy ripoff or something that I just did not enjoy. And so for those of you who don't know, the premise of the game is that the prince, releases these sands of time. He's fooled by a vizier who would bring his wishes, and instead it infects everyone in the kingdom and turns them into these, weird creatures. And so the prince has to actually kill his own father at the beginning of the game. And so he gets the other dagger that opens up the sands of time, and from that he's able to not only use all of his special powers like slow motion and freezing people in time, but also it allows him to recover the sands from the enemies and return it to the sands of time to undo what he has done. So he loses his father really quickly, and Farah is this princess from another land who's visiting at the time. And so the prince essentially, befriends her and finds essentially another way to, save her, because she's one of the few people who was in the throne room that was not, affected by it. And so, they were able to essentially make an alliance and kind of work out this Disney princess-esque kind of vibe. And that's pretty much the whole game. And, it ends with the prince going to the vizier, defeating him in a battle, returning the sands to the thing. And of course, in a classic kind of, action game fashion, he is basically sent back in time with all of his memories to the very beginning of the game, where again, he meets Farah. And she doesn't know who he is, but he knows exactly who she is. And he kind of just leaves then because, he says he's kind of completed his mission. And he always says, time is like an ocean because it keeps resetting, I guess. Anyway, not a huge fan of this game. Really didn't enjoy it and don't understand why people like it. I do like the other games in the series, though, funnily enough, some of them. So this one for me just did not hit. I did not like it. So there it is. Bye.